So what have we learned from 3 years of EV ownership?
We learned that we love electric vehicles.
Last week we told you about our decision to add solar panels to our house 3 years ago. This week we're going to talk about our cars. About a week after we installed the solar panels, we added our first electric vehicle, our 2018 Fiat 500e, which has become your daily driver.
And we call it the Tomato.
Since then, we've added a 2022 Chevy Bolt EV, which we purchased new. That was my daily driver for a couple of years.
And now our son drives it.
And a year ago, we purchased this 2022 Tesla Model 3 from Hertz Rentals Car Sales, and it has become my daily driver. We also have a Harley-Davidson Livewire. The only internal combustion engine vehicles that we have anymore are...
We have my motorcycle, which is a Honda, and then we also have a lawnmower, a John Deere lawnmower.
And that's it. So Honda Rebel 500 and a John Deere E160, if you're curious. Both use gasoline, and that's it. So we want to talk about some things that we like about the cars, some things that we learned, and some things that we miss.
Yeah.
And when I brought up the planning of this video, you talked about some things that you missed from before. What were they?
That's true. The first thing that I miss is previously to having electric vehicles, we had always had Subarus, many Subarus, and they were always all-wheel drive, and that gave me a very high level of confidence for whenever we had to drive in inclement weather. If there was ice or snow, I always felt really confident that we wouldn't have any trouble because of the Subaru. The electric vehicles are not terrible in ice and snow, but they don't have quite the same design intent to be good in that. So I do miss having that extreme high level of confidence for inclement weather.
Now, the big reason that our EVs don't have that all-wheel drive confidence is that none of our EVs are all-wheel drive. The Fiat and the Bolt are both two-wheel drive front-wheel drive, and this is two-wheel drive rear-wheel drive. Now, the Tesla is available in all-wheel drive and would give you that same all-wheel drive confidence. There are all-wheel drive EVs out there. They just didn't exist for us in our price range at the time that we were making our buying decisions.
Right, but if that isn't important to you, that is something that is available on an EV.
So what was another thing that you missed?
The other thing that I missed was towing. We have a little teardrop camper, and we did occasionally go camping in it, and our Crosstrek did have a tow hitch on it. None of our EVs have tow hitches right now, so we're not able to tow the camper at all.
Now, again, I have to say, there are EVs that can tow. We just happen to have 3 of them that aren't rated. The Fiat, no. The Bolt says in big letters in the owner's manual, do not tow with this vehicle. And you're not supposed to tow with a Model 3, but people do it all the time. And somewhere down the line in the next few months or year or two, this will probably get a tow hitch put on it, and that will have that problem solved. But there are EVs that can tow. You can order a Tesla Model Y with the tow hitch installed on it before you pick it up. The EV trucks can tow. The Polestar 2 has this little tow hitch that can retract. So, I mean, there are EVs that can tow. Again, it goes into the ones that could do it were not available in our price range when we purchased it.
Right. It's not a limitation of the genre of car. It's just the ones we have.
So what was the other thing that you missed?
The last thing that I missed is we no longer have a truck.
She had Subarus, I had a truck.
Yeah, the truck was convenient. We didn't use it as a truck a lot, and I didn't think I would miss it that much, but there are a few things that I need to do that I keep thinking, if I only had a truck, it would be easier. And
we had a truck for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And got used to having a pickup. Now, again, there are such things as electric pickup trucks. But you know what I'm going to say, they didn't exist in our price range when we made the purchase.
Yeah.
The plan was to replace my truck with an F-150 Lightning. I couldn't wait for my reservation number to come up, so I got the Bolt instead, and then I got addicted to the efficiency of that car of getting 4 miles per kilowatt hour when the Lightning is going to be half that, maybe a little better than half that, and used almost twice as much electricity. I just couldn't bring myself to spend that much money because they were still like $50,000 now.
Yeah.
When a Rivian R1T becomes available for under $25,000, then we'll talk. It's not yet. Definitely not yet. Probably not for a while. Is that going to happen?
Yeah, it was a fair trade-off though. None of those things are things that happen very often. We don't usually have problems with weather here. Usually only once or twice a year, and needing a truck comes up, just every once in a while. So I think we made a fair trade. I'm happy with the purchases that we made, but those are a few things I do occasionally notice that are different from when we had gas-powered vehicles.
All-wheel drive, towing capability, cargo hauling, to use truck stuff, and you can get all of that with an electric vehicle. They just are going to cost more than what we had available to spend.
Exactly.
So what are some things that we like about the EVs in the 3 years that we've owned them?
Lots and lots of things. First of all, they're super fun to drive.
How so would you say that they're fun to drive?
The car just goes instantly. For most vehicles, especially big vehicles like the truck, when you hit the accelerator pedal, there's a wind up and then you go. And even ones that are known for having quick pickup are much slower than an EV. Electric vehicles, as soon as you press the accelerator pedal, they just go right now. And that power is instantly available. That makes them very fun. They also just have a lot of power compared to the weight of the car. They handle really well. Generally, they have extremely nice feel on the steering wheel and the pedals. They're just fun to drive in general.
Now, on the acceleration, I will say that to me, it's not just a fun thing. It is a fun thing, but it's also a safety issue.
True.
If you're on a freeway in a city that it's not rush hour, traffic's doing 75, 80 miles an hour, 2 feet off of each other's bumper, and you need to get into a lane, you can pass really quickly. If you need to get up to speed quick, you most definitely can.
Yeah.
In terms of the handling, the reason why an EV handles is because of where the battery is. The battery pack is the heaviest thing on the car as far as a single component, and it's underneath the passenger compartment. It's like it's a big skateboard, and it balances it out in terms of weight distribution. I spent about 250 miles over the last 2 days driving a work vehicle that was a Ford Expedition that does not have that kind of weight distribution. And granted, it's a big truck, but I was really tentative on some of the corners for it that I wouldn't even have bothered slowing down for in this car. It's just the weight distribution is a big deal. And what about regenerative braking?
That is so much fun. First of all, it's neat that it does it. It's just cool technology that when you hit the brake, or if you're using one pedal drive, you just take your foot off the accelerator. It is literally, your process of slowing down is literally putting power back into the battery, which is it's just sci-fi to me. That's just cool. But also it does increase your efficiency. And you know that if you are going to be using your brake, it is going to add a little bit of power back into your battery, and that does extend your range.
Now, our son had a conversation with some folks at his work about electric vehicles. They were talking about his car, which is our old Chevy Bolt, and how people were giving him grief about it being an electric car. We're in rural Texas, and there's a lot of folks out there will do it. And it all boiled down to, eventually, to the base of their argument, he finally got him down to it, is that the electric car doesn't go vroom. It doesn't make the vroom noise. If you absolutely positively have to make a noise like that Harley that just cruised by, this is not going to work for you. But I like the quiet of the car.
Of course.
I like not having the engine roar. Yes, I love the sound of a well-tuned V8 or V6, even a Turbo 4. It can sound really nice, but there are times when I'm just driving to work that I just want to be able to hear the radio without having it blast. I don't want to have to drown other people out when I'm going by. Our dog can hear us pull up, but that's because of the propulsion sound when we put the car in reverse that she can hear, and she can hear our engines a little bit, our motors.
But she has really big ears. I can't hear it. I can't hear it.
So, but yeah, a lot of people like that.
I like the quiet.
I like the quiet.
I like the quiet. I'm not one of those people that thinks a noisy engine is good. I don't enjoy that. I like it when the cars are quiet. Even my motorcycle's quiet for a motorcycle.
Another thing that I've learned over the last couple of years, just from this YouTube channel, based on the comments that I get from some people who I don't think are subscribers. I think they hit on the channel and they put out some anti-EV commentary. I've learned that road trips are the #1 reason people buy cars, at least judging from those comments.
Right.
Because
that's all you use your car for.
That's all it gets used for is road trip. Because they always say it was a waste on a road trip. I see people post in Tesla groups that I took it on a road trip and it was just terrible. It took so much longer. It did not. I mean, if you're the type of person that can hold it for 800 miles, you don't need to eat, you don't need to stop to get gas, yeah, it's going to add time. But if you're like us and you like to take a more leisurely trip, it's no difference in a road trip between this car and when we would do it in our Subaru. And we've documented that on road trips before with us. But so many comments are about the time it takes to road trip the car.
And it's true. If you're just trying to get from point A to point B, and it's a long distance, and you're trying to get there as fast as possible, the EV is not the fastest way to do it. That is absolutely true.
But it makes it more of an adventure. It turns it into more of a quest. It feels like you're playing Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption a little bit. You go from one checkpoint to the next and do a thing.
It's true. It's true. It is more of an adventure. It really is. It's a different type of a trip. It's not just you get in and drive until you run out of gas and then you pull over to the nearest gas station. You do have to plan a little bit. You do have to have a little bit of an idea of what you're trying to accomplish and where you're going. But that just makes it more fun for us.
But let's talk about the real nitty-gritty on time savings with an electric vehicle. I did some math earlier this morning to figure this out. And this last year, in 2024, and we documented these. We've got videos on them just with this car. We did a lot of road trips with this car.
We did, more than
We went to
previously.
Amarillo and back to meet up with Mike. We went to Lake of the Ozarks and back for a camp out with a friend. We went to Charlottesville, Virginia and back for a weekend event. And to go down to Electrify Expo, we went to Austin and back. And a lot of times, because we needed to be somewhere at a certain time, we left a little earlier or something like that. The total number of days that we spent driving this car as part of a road trip in 2024, and that was a lot for us, was 12. 12 days that we spent road tripping this car. 2024 was a leap year. That means it had 366 days. That means we road tripped this car 3% of the time. The other 97% of the time is what the people who complain about the time it takes to road trip an EV never mention. It's how much time do you waste filling up your car at a gas station for your daily driving for that other 97% of the year. Now, if you're someone who road trips for a living, I can see that. If you're spending 365 days a year on the road, I can understand that. That's going to be a big deal, even if you're spending half that. But if you're like us, where 4 road trips a year is a big deal, 4 big road trips of over 500 miles each is a big deal. One of them was together close to 3,000 miles. But that was 3% of our year. The other 97% of the time, we get up and we go to work. We get home from work, grab the plug it in. It takes 15 seconds, and then we go inside. We have dinner, we watch TV, we go to sleep, we hang out, we talk, we do work around the house or work around the yard, and just let the car fill up while we're doing other stuff.
Yeah, our level 2 at-home charger just charges the car while we're doing other things, and it's a very pleasant experience. It's very easy. It doesn't matter really how long it takes. I mean, it does matter a little because we're juggling 3 vehicles, but it's always enough for us. And if you have to stop at a gas station, every week or every week and a half, that is not a fun time, right? Filling up your car at the gas station is a chore. It's not like it's pleasant, and it might not take long, but it is something that's not a super fun thing that you have to do.
And you know what you have to do if you have a gas car, besides fill it up and go to the gas station and take time out of your day to go to the gas station, is you've got to worry about gas prices.
Yes, you do have to worry about gas prices, which we don't worry about at all. We don't even pay attention. We don't care.
Don't miss it. The only reason I look up gas prices, honestly, is when I do videos about cost per mile or things like that. The rest of the time, I just go, oh, gas is this now, and I don't even know where it's trending. I mean, I'll look, I'll notice, but that causes me zero stress.
But that is a lot of stress for a lot of people, especially if you drive a lot, or just even if you have a very tight budget. If gas prices go up, that can take a significant chunk out of your budget and make it hard for you to figure out how to make your budget work. That can be really difficult.
If the budget is tight, and with a vehicle like this, it's much more easy to predict what your budget is going to be, because especially if you're charging off of home solar or wind generation that you're doing at your own house, you're going to know what that expense is going to be. You're not going to have to guess. You're not going to have to worry about cutting back on groceries because gas went up.
Yeah, right. Now, the other thing that you don't have to do when you have an electric vehicle is have your oil changed on your car. There are no oil changes. You don't have to do it yourself. You don't have to drive to a place to do it. You don't have to fit it into your schedule. It just doesn't happen. And you don't have to fit it into your budget either. You don't have to do it.
Prior to the start of 2025, the state we live in, Texas, had safety inspections for all vehicles, and for our EVs, they were cheaper than they were for our Subaru, and that was because they were doing an emissions check. And even though we're not in a big city county, we're right next to one, and we're close enough to one that our vehicles here still have to have emissions checks, and there are a lot of other states that you have to take your car every year to get an emissions check. And if one little cable's off or it gives you that check engine light, that's going to be a big bill that you've got to come up with to get your car even registered legally. We don't have to worry about that in it ever again.
Right. Electric vehicles are exempt from the emissions test because they
don't have
no emissions.
And so we don't have to worry about that. Now, on the downside, our state of Texas did see fit to charge us an extra $200 for registration because we're not paying gasoline tax, and so that's how they get our money for gasoline tax, which for me works out about right. That's probably about how much I would give in gasoline tax over the course of a year for the miles that I drive. But for you, you're paying twice what you would.
Yeah, they're being a little bit greedy with us EV owners, but Texas doesn't really like electric vehicles, so we kind of expect that here.
Yeah. So, but these are just some of the things that we've learned. One thing we definitely don't miss is getting gas. In fact, it feels weird when we get gas for the lawnmower, but I do like the look on people's face when I pull up to the gas pump with a Tesla and open the frunk to get the gas can out.
Yeah.
I love that we can do that because you can have the gas can in the frunk where you're not getting gasoline fumes in the cabin of the car.
Right.
So those are just some of the things we've learned. Tires, the Tesla, the Bolt, and the Fiat, we've all put a set of tires on.
Yeah.
The Fiat and the Tesla were bought used. So the tires we replaced were not the original tires.
Right.
And the tires that we replaced on the Bolt, we got about 40,000 miles on them, which is decent. But they didn't die of natural causes. They still had, they probably had another 10,000 miles of tread on them when we replaced them. One tire got a puncture, and it was a self-sealing tire that no longer was sealing, and you can't patch or repair a self-sealing tire if it no longer wants to seal.
In its defense, it did self-seal for a while.
It did.
And then it just stopped.
And then it just stopped and would not hold air at all. And it was just like, you know what, forget it. Let's just get some new tires on it.
Right.
So, but we haven't had the excess tire wear that I see from some other people. One thing about EVs is you've got to change a little bit of your mindset. You can't always floor it. I mean, it's fun. It's fun, but if you're flooring it all the time, you are going to go through some tires.
Which is true for a gas-powered vehicle too. If you have a lead foot and you like to spin your tires, you're gonna go through tires faster.
And for all the people that say you can't road trip an EV, I will point you to any one of our road trip videos, any one of any other road trip videos out there from other content creators on YouTube, of showing you people doing the things that you're saying can't be done. And especially with a Tesla, it is so super easy to road trip this car.
It really
you
is.
just type in your destination, the car tells you where you're going to charge, how long you're going to be there, preconditions the battery for you to get the maximum amount of speed. And our big road trip to Virginia, the car was waiting on us at virtually every stop. We had to actually change a little bit of what we were doing so that we weren't overcharging the car. If you overcharge an electric vehicle, you arrive at your next charger with too much energy in the pack and you don't get the best charging speed because of it.
Right.
So that's why you charge enough to get to the next charger, because you'll spend less time at that next charger because you'll get energy faster.
Right. For more information on that, see our previous videos.
See
where we
previous
explain it in
videos.
detail.
But it's a change of mindset to road tripping an EV or even owning an EV. You can't drive it till it's empty and find an electricity station. It doesn't work like that. You drive it, what you need to drive it for, and then you plug it in overnight at home. You're on a road trip, you charge enough to get to the next charger, and you plan on based on where the chargers are. And the charging infrastructure, there are some new stations coming out, like the Iona stations. We should be getting one around here in Texas pretty soon, that are like EV charging super stations that have like food and things there, things to do while you're there. So it's not just going from Walmart to Walmart.
Right. Right.
But things are getting better, and it is perfectly possible to live with these in the year 2025.
Yeah, we love them. Every time I go somewhere, of course, my Fiat 500e is really cute, so a lot of people comment on it, and I always tell them, thank you, it's fully electric, and they go, really? It's very surprising to people.
People say, and you've even mentioned this, that there are people out there that a plug-in hybrid makes a lot of sense for.
Yes.
And it could, because you get the best of both worlds if you remember to plug it in. That's a big asterisk.
Yeah.
If you remember to plug it in, then you're going to get the best of both worlds. If you drive it till the battery's dead and you never plug it in, then you've got an underpowered internal combustion engine towing around a couple extra 100 pounds of battery.
Right. But if you do drive a lot, and especially if you drive in a place where there aren't a lot of convenient chargers, or if they're very expensive, a plug-in hybrid does make a lot more sense.
But I don't think that I would consider a plug-in hybrid unless there just wasn't a battery electric vehicle available for me.
Yeah.
Because
for
our circumstances, it is way too convenient to fuel the car up at home and not ever have to take it to a gas station or an electricity station.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. Anything else we learned about EVs in the last 2 years?
I think that covered what we talked about this morning.
That's all we know.
We learned that we liked them. We learned that we like them a lot, and there are people out there that like them a lot. And we learned that there are a lot of people out there that can't stand them for some reason that mainly boils down to they road trip every day of the year and they don't like that the car doesn't go vroom. Look, there can be better arguments out there, I'm sure, but those are the arguments that got presented to me, all right? So anyway, tell us anything that you've learned from your time in EV ownership, or things that you want to know because you're considering making the switch. Let us know that down in the comments. As mentioned earlier, we're coming up on a couple of anniversaries for our cars. Our 3-year review of our Fiat is next up. That'll be coming next week. Our 1-year review of this car is coming up next week. If you've got specific questions about that Fiat or this Tesla that we purchased from Hertz as a retired rental car, let us know in the comments. I'll probably have a community post up there also. And subscribe so you don't miss those videos when they come out. Thanks for watching, everybody.
See ya.